I'd be interested to hear just a little bit of history of how you guys even came together to form the OneRing.net.
Sure. I started my involvement with the concept of the site when I was really excited about a certain movie called The Phantom Menace. And I was like so pumped. I was the biggest Star Wars. My Civic had used the Force as the license plate.
Nice.
Hardcore Star Wars geek as a kid. And
Still are.
and so, Phantom Menace was coming out. And where can I find anything and everything about this movie so that I know everything before I go into the theater? TheForce.net. I don't know if you guys have visited.
Absolutely.
I posted quite a few times there, actually.
And so, TheForce.net, I was visiting it multiple times a day. I was at that point working at Penn State University, and I ran a computer lab. So I had all the time in the world. I'm sitting there always checking it up. And then I saw this one site, this really crappy designed website. I'm just digging one of our owners. And
Nice.
I remember it back then, and I remember the banner.
There was this green site with and then this woman was taking pictures from what was supposedly the set, and all these things. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Too bad it sucks as a site. And and so what I did was I wrote to them, and I think I said it a little in more nice terms than that. I wasn't as rude, I don't think, though I could have been. I was pretty weird back then.
Hey, it worked. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you said worked.
And I said, hey, I got this friend who does server stuff, and I can design it. Let's just put it together and come up with a name. And since the Force.net, I'm like, oh, how about the OneRing.net? Yes, awesome, let's do it. And so really the four of us just put it together, and it just sort of took off because the access that Erica had in New Zealand, she would go hiking, and she didn't intend to be a spy necessarily. She just was hiking, and they're like, oh, look, there's this, oh, good, take pictures. And so those were the first pictures coming in, for the world of the making of these films. And so, a few well-placed, cease and desist letters by the production to Erica that caused a media storm, increased the website's renown a little bit, and we grew, it just grew into something big. And so we immediately had people coming out and say, hey, I want to do this kind of thing. And Cliff, was one of our early staffers at that time. He wanted to do scholarly articles. And so we just, grew from then. Took on 40-some staff, and one of the key elements of the site from the beginning has always been our not-for-profit status. No one's ever made a penny from the site, personally, and we've given around $100,000 to charity over our history.
That is fantastic.
And it also puts us in a unique position as a website because we don't care if we don't make money. All we care is be able to pay the server bill, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And so it's very easy to make decisions related to businesses and site stuff, just free of the constraints of financial worries. Right. So we've had benefactors over the years that just were kind enough to, I'll pay your server bill for the year. Awesome. And so, now we don't really have to worry about anything. Oh, there's a cease and desist came in for something. Oh, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? Just no one have a site, but it always worked out. And
we don't have nothing. They can't take anything from you, right?
Exactly. What are they going to do? What are they going to do, right? And so growing pains. With the films, obviously, amazing things happen with the films. We're insanely high on all the search engine rankings, and as a site, we were getting so much traffic, and we became, for the production and the cast and the crew, they were getting news about their own movies that they didn't know about from us. And so it just really spiraled like that and rolled on.
Now, these came from all your staffers. Now, you mentioned staffers. These are all volunteer writers?
Yeah, all volunteers. Right? Most, people came up with an alias. Mine was Calasuri, which was just a misspelled X-Files episode. And,
awesome.
we just it was not intended. It was not planned to be some big thing. It was just fun to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I said, it came from, this... I liked the Hobbit movie. My brothers gave me a copy of The Lord of the Rings. When I was 13, I used to read it every year. And that was really the extent of my, my interest in the world. Every Thanksgiving we'd be trading around the books, and so I was very casual about it. And then I was never really introduced into geekdom. Geekdom as we know it today is intense.
Right.
Is and I never really
Turf
was
wars.
is well, yeah. And what happened is I left Penn State because I followed my then girlfriend out here to go. She went to Cal Arts for costume design, and I was like, yeah, what the hell am I doing here? I can go out to California, and it just so happened at that point, everything with Lord of the Rings was hitting, and so I was here positioned well to do parties and do events locally. So it just worked out, And post the movies, my wife we moved back to Pennsylvania, and so I run the business side of basically everything with the One Ring from Pennsylvania, and I was explaining this to my coworkers. I'm the director of e-commerce at Sideshow Collectibles, and it's a real job with real responsibilities, and you're responsible for people's. I have a team that I'm responsible for, and their livelihoods because they're employed by us. Whereas I compare it to the One Ring, it's just the One Ring's like, well, okay, so that happened. Oh well.
Right.
Let's move on.
Moving on. Now, how did you get to this point in the One Rings career where you guys are now hosting?
Well, the first the first Oscar party came about when some of the staffers would say, hey, let's have a get together for Fellowship of the Ring, and